My first Pride was a protester. I was forced by my parents to go to an anti-protest of Pride and basically just be like, God hates you, you're gonna die in hell, like that type of stuff. And I ended up crying in an alley and having a mental breakdown because seeing people be so happy, and I was like, why can't I be there? The first time I ever went to the LGBT center was when I ran away from my parents and I was experiencing homelessness. There was a kind of rumor that spread that I was gay in my church, and my parents threatened to slit my throat with a knife because they'd rather have a dead daughter than a gay one. I thought literally my parents were about to walk in and yell at me for being in there, or someone from my Slavic community was gonna see me. That was terrifying to me. After I left that day, out of the door, I felt so relaxed. I ended up crying from happiness that night that there was an LGBT center. And then later I found out that I got accepted into the program and I cried even more, but a good cry. So 3 things that the center has done for me would definitely be helping with housing and getting me off of the streets. Case management would be another huge thing that's helped me a lot, as well as self-acceptance and creating a community. To this day, it's going to be the biggest thing that the center has given to me, is just accepting myself, because with acceptance came happiness and my personal health. I think one thing that I can do now is actually finally be able to express myself through art. Art has been a huge influence throughout my life. I've loved painting and drawing, and living in the household that I did live before and in the community, everything was very regulated and micromanaged onto what I could paint, what I could draw, and if it wasn't religious, I wasn't allowed to do it. Now I can actually express sexuality and gender and whatever I want onto a canvas without someone ripping it apart and throwing it away. With all of that, I've been definitely able to basically reboot my brain in a way. It's kind of been a restart button, and it's been really nice to finally be able to relax and be less anxious and be less sad and be able to actually rest at night and not having to worry about a lot of things. I hate to say this, but I probably would have taken my life if it weren't for finding this place. Going through this center is what really started my first chapter in life. Thanks to being able to get into the center, I was actually able to start my life.
I am a musician here in Sacramento. I'm 19 years old. I was raised by my grandparents. I didn't really have my mother in my life, and then recently she did pass. A lot of what I do is for her. Stop and take a breath. After the passing of my mom, I was really going through a really tough time, and I feel that by participating, and being still a part of the things that the center does, especially including queer voices, I feel that it kind of took me away from that mode of just being stuck in my head and just being so sad and just feeling very withdrawn. And I feel that the center just kind of took me away from that for a moment and just gave me a moment to breathe when I needed to. Within being in queer voices, it's definitely kind of boosted up my confidence in being an advocate, with being able to share my story and share those experiences and be able to sing a song that represents that. I feel that I'm able to not only, advocate for the center, but for people that, may have, mental health issues or may be depressed or things like that. Being able to share those parts of me, I feel that it's making me a more open artist, and I'm relating to more people out there who may feel that they're not seen, and I'm making sure that they are. Who's going to be advocating for you if you don't advocate for everyone else, And so I always like to spread that message, because I want someone to advocate for me, but the only way I'm gonna have that is if I'm advocating for someone else. I can definitely just use the advocating that I've learned here and use that outside in the real world, especially maybe in workplaces, even with doing music, maybe educating people along the way. We are in a very hard time. A very high percentage of LGBTQ youth, already deal with mental health. And so I feel that even now it's more imperative that the center, be an advocate for that, because as long as they're still standing, those youth are gonna have something to lean on. The center is the pillar. I think one word that I would use to describe that the center has given me is just a lot of love. I walk in, it's loving. People are just so warm. With that comes just so much love with whatever I'm doing when I walk through these doors, whether it's Queer Voices or if I'm just talking to the person at the front desk. Like, there's always just so much love.
I grew up in Fairfield, California, and I was adopted as a teenager by an awesome family. My neighbors actually took me in and spent a lot of time here in Sacramento. Life before adoption was pretty challenging. My family wasn't very accepting, of me being gay. As soon as I came out, there was just a lot of challenges at home. School's hard. I was bullied a lot in school, not only for being gay, but for being overweight. I didn't have a lot of friends in high school. Kept to myself, ate alone. Right after graduating high school, I found a new group of friends, actually from the Sacramento LGBT Center, which I think was called the Lambda Center. So every Friday we were like, let's go to Lambda. When I came to the center, I definitely found a group where I felt like I belonged. Being at the center and having so many different conversations with the facilitators, they really listened to me and my needs and shared that those feelings that I had were valid, that they were important, and that I deserved to be happy. I deserved to be loved. I deserved friendships. I deserved family. And I learned how to accept that and actually got that from being connected to the center. I think if I wouldn't have found the center, I wouldn't have a strong network of friends to really get me through the challenging times. Yeah, the friendships that I created at the center have lasted now almost 20 years. And what started out as just, hanging out at the center and going out to the clubs and bars turned into friendships where we talked about our dreams and aspirations, and we just supported one another through those years. And so I'm super grateful for those relationships. It's hard to find people that are truly rooting for you in your success, and I feel like that's something that I found in the friends that I met while at the center. So if I was writing a Yelp review, I would definitely give the LGBT Center 5 stars for really being connected to clients, really being supportive of clients. Yeah, when I reflect back, I think about all the fun I had. I think about all of the friendships that I made, all of the super fun experiences. I wouldn't trade it for anything.